Projects do not start with an idea, they start with an observation. So if you have been asking yourself, how do I get project ideas as someone who works in development, you are asking the wrong questions. Let me give you an example. Before we started the Community Learning Center at Thrive Rise, I was not sitting somewhere trying to think of one big education project, right? I was studying at the University of Illinois at the time, and whenever I traveled from school to home, I kept noticing something. Children were everywhere. During the day, in the evening, literally every hour, you could see children roaming about. So eventually, I started talking to them, and these conversations bettered the project. Some of these children were so far behind academically, they could barely introduce themselves confidently, and you could just tell that the problem wasn't exactly an intelligence problem, it was more of a meaningful access problem. Now, that was the problem, right? The children lacked meaningful access to learning. And once I understood the problem, that was when the real work began. I started asking questions. How does the community work? Who are the decision makers in this community? Who already works in education in this community? I started making my research. If we were to solve this problem, what would that actually look like? What resources would we need? What regulations would we need to implement? Who is already doing similar work? It was only after that did I begin the stakeholder mapping. And for the Community Learning Center, our stakeholders included the children themselves, their parents, the community leaders, the local government education secretary, the State Universal Basic Education Board, the Ministry of Education, local ed teachers in the community, volunteer teachers, and eventually our implementation team. Now, notice something that I still have not started talking about funding. Why? Because good projects usually do not begin with money. They begin by first understanding the problem. Because funding would not rescue a project that is poorly designed, it would only amplify a well designed one. So, if you do not understand the problem you are solving, the people affected by it, the systems involved, the stakeholders involved, giving that project money would not make it successful. Now, if you're asking where you can get project ideas from, my answer to you is very simple. Pay close attention, observe, ask so many questions, and understand the system, and eventually the solution would start revealing itself to you. Or you can check my page. I share project ideas from time to time.